joining me here now, just mere days before Selection Sunday goes down. Who do you think are teams that need to be very concerned about not hearing their names on Sunday night? Give me some names.
Well, there are a lot of your colleagues, our colleagues in the sports media business, who are concerned about Syracuse, as they should be. I think they're pretty much out. Notre Dame's got a big one today against Duke. Notre Dame's a fascinating case because they played most of the season without their best player, Bonzie Colson, who's not just their best player, really a first-team All-America caliber player. So they don't have the resume of a team that could get in. But now that they have him back and he's playing well, does the committee give them that leeway? I think probably not without a win over Duke today, but that is something. And then, Arizona State finished, I want to say they finished the season 3 games under 500 in the Pac-12, which normally you would say no chance, but they got wins over Kansas and Xavier early in the season. At one point, they were ranked in the top 5 of the country. They have a neutral court win over Kansas State, which would be important because you're comparing bubble teams. So I think they probably get in, but the fact that a team that on Christmas Day was ranked 3rd in the AP poll is now basically on the verge of not being in. A lot of people talking about Oklahoma with Trae Young. Obviously, they really tanked it down the stretch. I think they've got enough house money to probably get in there.
Yeah, they lost last night.
Yeah, they lost again last night. Oklahoma State is playing Kansas today. They've beaten Kansas twice. Kansas playing today without their starting center as a bouquet, and they have very little front court depth to begin with. So if Oklahoma State wins today, they've made a pretty good case to get in.
So let's just say Oklahoma and Trae Young don't make it, okay? And they're an NIT. In the NFL, we have seen players who are going to be surefire draft picks sit out bowl games that mean nothing. Do you think we might be in the era of a one-and-done player
Interesting.
not playing an NIT game because they don't want to get hurt?
I haven't even thought about that or heard anybody say that. It's a fascinating question. I mean, Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz, I don't even know if their teams made the NIT because you got to be over 500. Football, there's a much bigger chance of getting hurt.
Sure.
And seriously hurt than in a basketball game. So
clearly,
I would guess no. Agreed. And knowing Trae a little bit, knowing his family pretty well, I would guess no. But I wouldn't begrudge him. I don't begrudge any of these guys at that point doing whatever's best for them. Like, I got my own kids to raise, whatever you got, right? I got enough problems at home. Like, I don't need to raise other people's kids. Feel the same way about the one and done.
Seth Davis here on the Rich Eisen Show. What? And then before we get to that, top seeds. What are we still? Up in the air here?
3 are locked in. It's
doesn't
actually
matter
a
what
smaller
happens
pool.
this
Doesn't
weekend.
matter what happened locked in. Virginia, Villanova, Xavier.
In.
Done. They don't have to win another game. They are number 1 seeds.
Got it.
Kansas is a little bit of a closer call because they have a couple of not so great losses. But really the only team that I think can get to that one line over a Kansas is Duke. So if Duke wins the ACC tournament, which would presumably include wins over North Carolina and Virginia, if Kansas loses today, Duke actually doesn't have as many quality wins as you might think if you get into the nitty-gritty nerd stuff of the RPI and the quadrant one is like the new big thing.
Right.
But it is conceivable that Duke could get to the one line. All the other candidates, Michigan State, Michigan, Cincinnati, Auburn was the SEC champ. I just don't see them as number 1 seed. So we're a little bit more settled than I think we're used to at this part of the week.
Does it even matter anymore, do you think?
You know what? It's funny. Like, I've never known why the number 1 seed thing matters to anybody. Like, you got to play the game. So maybe the 16 is a little bit weaker than a 15, but beyond that, it's all about matchups, and it's a great conversation. It's like a feather in your cap to be a 1 seed.
But you kind of get a bye, too, right? We've seen the 15 seeds shock even just, obviously, Tom Izzo recently. I mean, you've seen that. That's much more of a possibility.
The 16 beating a 1 is like the only thing left in sports that's never happened, And I get into this debate with Clark Kellogg. He's like, it's never going to happen, not in our lifetime. I'm like, we've had overtime games between 16s and 1s. We've had single-digit margins between 16s and 1s. You see where the trend lines in terms of the parity going on. Sometimes you get a 16 seed who, for whatever reason, is good as a 15 seed, and maybe a 1 who isn't so strong. Like, it's only a matter of time before it happens, I think.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.